one. And we are recording with Dr. Dale Comstock on Saturday, July 13th, 2024 at 1:06 p.m. Eastern Time. If you go in the description, guys, you find his website, you can find his coaching stuff, you can find his Instagram, and I think everything else that is yours in there. And yeah, shout out to my buddy Craig. We were talking last night. Yeah, as I told you, we were talking about Dale and average age, and he was just like, Jesus Christ, I can't do a Welsh accent. He's like, Dale, he's 23. And I was like, yeah, he's 23 when he joined. He was like, fuck. Jesus. And I was like, yeah, he's like, I have some questions for Dale, but I don't think Dale would answer. I'm like, Dale, he wouldn't answer. He wouldn't answer anything. He's like, I want to ask him about nuclear weapons. I'm like, he's not, Dale doesn't tell me shit. What do you, he's like, yeah, it's a good point. So good try, Craig. You tried, and Dale's entertained by your efforts, but nothing more. But I think everyone knows you. You've been on my show a million. I think literally everyone knows you. So you can introduce yourself if you want, but it's fucking Dale Comstock. But in terms of guess, yeah, not guess ideas, topic ideas, one of them was the physics of success, and I think that's something that you and I share. I'm very big into meditation. I'm very big into kind of, you know, you've always talked about it. You can be you can only physically force things so much. For coming from a Delta guy, you can only white knuckle shit so much before that will never get you as far as you can. It'll get you far, but it'll never get you as far as like a mental mindset of seeing and feeling the end goal before you get there. That is so much stronger than anything else. And it doesn't matter when I say it, but it does matter a lot when you say it. And also, just to point out for everybody listening, you should be watching. This is the only time I've ever seen Dale without just the handlebar mustache. So I'm not in my comfort zone right now. But Dale, take it away, dude.
No, man, thanks. Yeah. Hey, everybody out there. So yeah, me and the old man here and this young man, actually put in perspective, I'm 61 years old. And so rather talking about, going on my political rants and stuff like that, everybody's already heard all that, where I stand. And I'm not going to change any minds. I'm definitely not going to convert any lefties to the right. I don't think I can empower any more people on the right to stand up and push back. So let's talk about something different for a change. And really what I wanted to discuss was the science of success. Success is based on physics. All right. And so I'm going to start with a couple little things. One, okay, my appearance. I'm not going to go into why I appear this way. There's a reason why. I'm on people's lists. People want to kill me. Just to be honest, right? And so people want to kill me. They want to detain me. They want to arrest me. There's all kinds of people don't. People don't. They want me out of the picture because I'm a troublemaker for them, and I'm the antithesis to the madness that's going on today. So I've altered my appearance. I've altered my patterns of life. I don't exactly tell people where I'm exactly at any one particular time. I travel a lot. I live in several countries and I live out of a suitcase. But all that said, um, we have we have been lied to throughout history, but particularly in the last 40, 50 years, we have been lied to repeatedly by our government, by the pharmaceutical companies, by the food companies. I'm not going to say the doctors have lied to us, but those that have trained the doctors, taught the doctors, have also misled them. And you got to remember one thing: these institutions, particularly the pharmaceutical companies, food companies, medical establishment, they're all for profit, man. Okay, they're trying to make money, and pharmaceutical companies would go out of business if they cured everybody, or if you were able to cure yourself using natural remedies and things like that. Um, and if you even suggest using natural remedies or something outside of the space of allopathic medicine, it's called quackery, right? And you'll be dogged for it until you're gone. Farmers, food companies, right? They think they're trying to keep us healthy and alive and make food easier and more accessible, but they're feeding us fake food, if you want to call it food at all. And that's also contributing to our poor health. The medical establishment, look, they would rather cut something out than ameliorate it with some type of a natural medicine or vitamin or herb or some other practice, right? And so I'm not saying all doctors are like that. But what I'm saying is, for example, I've got two medical doctors right now in my mentoring program. They'll admit, they don't know what they don't know. They have limited information on vitamins, supplements, and how to use what's really conventional medicine, but they've hijacked that. Now they call allopathic medicine conventional and conventional medicine alternative, right? Or complementary. No, actually, everything is based off of natural medicines, right? Even today's allopathic medicine, modern medicine, has its roots and genesis in conventional, traditional medicines. Uh, why? It's all because of marketing and people are trying to make money. And so I'll start with the first topic. What is my mission in life? Well, I have many missions with many purposes, but my personal purpose is to stay as long and as effective as I can, live as long as I can, and be as effective as I can until for a very long time. I've always believed and I've always told myself, and I repeat it every day to myself, I am 100 years old because that's my mission to live 100 years and not 100 years in a wheelchair, taking medicine, laying in a bed with IVs, having somebody carry me around, not in an old folks home or nothing like that. I intend to be on my feet, kicking ass, um, living a good life, and youthful in my activities, maybe a little aged in my appearance, but it's okay as long as I feel good and I can perform.
Fuck
Why
yeah.
not? And why? Because I like living. I like life. I love what I do. I love, everything's exciting. Um, and I don't want the party to end. So I've been trying to figure out how to extend the party, right? Keep the party going. And there are ways to do it. And there's and there's ways to do it using supplementation, complementary procedures, medicines, blah blah blah. And there's also a way to do it by eliminating what you believe are healthy things, right? And so I'm gonna address that real quick. Then we're gonna go into the mindset of success. So I usually start my little dissertation here with nutrition. And why? Because if our if our gut lining and our digestive system is not healthy, then our mind won't be healthy. And the reason why is because there's a direct nexus between the two. So, for example, your gut lining produces at least half of your serotonin and your dopamine hormones. They're produced there.
Hmm.
Those are required for what? Your mind, your mood, your feelings, right? So if your digestive system is out of whack and you have things like, leaky gut syndrome, irritated bowel syndrome, irritated bowel disease, Crohn's disease, all these different things going on with your gut, okay? Then most likely you're going to have something going on with your mindset, your feelings, your mood, your ability to think. And so there is and of course the other way, it goes the other way too. If you just got the wrong mindset, then you're gonna have bad digestion because you're eating the wrong food, you're neglecting your body, you're not putting the right resources into it to sustain yourself. So they go hand in hand. Right. When I said, you know, the government as well as the pharmaceutical companies are culpable in what they are culpable in probably the deaths of millions of Americans since the food pyramid came out in the 60s and 70s. Like, oh, cholesterol is bad, oh, salt is bad, all this stuff that's actually good for you. They say it's bad. And then I can hear it now. Yeah, but everything in moderation. No, 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 no. Not true at all. Cholesterol, you can't eat too much cholesterol and salt ain't bad for you. Okay, have at it. And I'll talk a little bit to it without everything. What I'm talking about is literally based on research, science, and all this other crap has been debunked, like the cholesterol myth, for example. Um, so we have steered away from eating egg yolk, red meat, salt, blah blah blah, all the things that our body actually needs to not only just to stay alive, but to thrive and grow, and to ward off disease. So I'll start with, for example, heart disease. Okay. So prior to the Industrial Revolution in the 1900s, um, the incidence of cancer was less than 5%. Less than 5% of the population will get cancer. Usually it was inherited or congenital, and it wasn't always fatal. Sometimes it's something localized and something benign. Okay, 5%. 30 years ago, let me think about this. 25 years ago, when I got my doctorate, 20 years ago, whatever it's been now, last 20, 25 years, that number went to 1 in every 4 people. 25% of the population will get cancer.
Jeez.
Today, it's 50%. 1 in 2 people will get cancer. Okay. Now, what's changed? Our food. Okay. How does cancer, where does cancer come from? Well, it actually comes from your DNA, the alteration of your DNA at the
Hmm.
cellular, right? And so normally your immune system can control those cells, get them out of there and wash out of your system. But sometimes cancer takes hold because your immune system's suppressed and it can't do its job. And one way your immune system gets suppressed, ready? Stress. Every time you stress over anything, where's my car keys? Where's my wallet? Oh my God, I'm gonna be late from work. Oh, I just had an argument with my boss or my wife, whatever, right? All of that invokes the fight flight syndrome, which includes um, producing not only epinephrine or norepinephrine, but cortisol. And what does cortisol do? It tells all body systems, listen, guys, we're in combat right now. We're facing a saber-toothed tiger or a dinosaur. What we need to do is divert all energy resources, oxygen to the large muscle groups because we got to throw big ass rocks, throw spears, run like hell, climb a tree. We need large motor groups and we need to feel those things. So everybody's got to contribute to the cause.
Hmm.
Mr. Immune system, I know you're fighting stage 4 cancer, okay? But if you don't divert your energy temporarily to the large muscle groups, okay, you won't have to worry about stage 5 because
Cancer
we're
won't
all
be matter. You're dead.
gonna die, right? So
Yeah.
it's body, the mind going, I'm trying to save me, right? And so if you're under chronic stress, like I said, you lost your car keys, little fights here and there. Um, that may not be the same as facing a saber-tooth tiger, but it's still a level of stress that inhibits the function of your immune system. And so over time, that chronic suppression of your immune system will allow cancer to flourish because eventually it overtakes the capability of the immune system. It's not functioning optimally. And the problem is we inundate our body every day with toxins, tons of toxins in our foods, environmental toxins. We're just overloaded with this crap. And our body's constantly trying to fight it. And our immune system constantly trying to fight it up till it's been weakened to the point where it's no longer defending, it's just getting overrun. And this is where diseases start taking hold. So heart disease never existed, very little, particularly heart attacks, back in the 1800s. And now, it's one of the major causes of death tied to obesity. Type 2 diabetes is another modern nutritional disease. Type 2 diabetes stems from what? Insulin resistance from what? Too much insulin. Why is too much insulin? Because we're eating too much sugar. Okay. And then we have the various cognitive diseases, right? ALS, Alzheimer's, etc. Those are all new. And by the way, I said diseases. I misspoke. None of these are diseases. In fact, 97% of the diseases that humans suffer from are actually not diseases. They're disorders that are linked to something we're doing or not doing, i.e., our diets, nutrition, or exposure to electromagnetic energy, EMF, environmental pollutants. Those are the things that are creating this disorder. It's not a disease, okay? They're not natural to us. We've created them for ourselves, all right? So the cognitive diseases also have taken hold in the last 50 years. Hell, we just look at our, illustrious president, the guy's brain dead. Okay. It's not because he's not brain dead through any real fault of his own. He's brain dead because he has something going on, most likely in the space of Alzheimer's or something like that. And you can tie that to nutrition. In fact, Alzheimer's, ALS, these cognitive diseases are now labeled type 3 diabetes. Why? Because there's a direct corollary between sugar, carbohydrates, and brain function. Okay. So everything always maps back to sugar. It's not fat. Fat's not the enemy. Cholesterol is not the enemy. Salt's not the enemy. The real enemy is carbohydrates, sugar, glucose. Okay. And it's any kind of sugars. For example, pasta, rice, any carbohydrates, fruits, refined sugar, brown sugar, anything that sugar has creates sugar,
Hmm.
causes the glucose, has a negative impact on their body and also the mind. It really is the enemy. It should be, if we knew what we know about it in today, back when somebody discovered cocaine, right? They would have outlawed sugar a long time ago. You could argue, well, it's a natural substance. No, and so is cocaine, but it doesn't mean it's good for you, right?
Yeah,
So, and we shouldn't be eating sugar either, right? But we do. We've been brainwashed into eating it. It is addictive, it is addictive.
very
And
addictive.
and so and the food companies know that, and they actually keep pouring extra sugar into their cereals and stuff. They want you to get ultra super addictive to it, right? So you keep buying more and more and more. And it's very hard to control. Try going a day to 2 days without any sugar and see what happens. Man, you feel like a drug addict. Like, man, I gotta get a fix. I need something sweet. I need some candy bar. I need Coke, whatever, right? You just got to have it. And there's a reason for all that. Okay. It's not just psychological. It's also related to your hormones. So, for example, when I eat, let's just say I drink a soda with aspartame and artificial sweetener, right? Chemical sweetener. Okay. I drink the Coke and yeah, it tastes sweet. And actually the aspartame will tell the pancreas to produce insulin because it's sweet. And so the pancreas produces insulin, but there's no sugar to bind with because you fooled it. You're taking a chemical sweetener, right? So you have all this aspartame, I'm sorry, all this insulin floating around, and it's washing all the cells, right? And it's not doing anything. And so what happens is you keep washing the cells over and over with insulin, and it just keeps floating around in there. One, you get insulin resistance, right? So type 2 diabetes, and two, it sends a message to the brain, hey man, I need more carbohydrates and sugar to get rid of this insulin, right? But the real purpose of insulin, ready for this? It's not what you think it is. Real purpose of insulin is to tell all other body systems, stop burning fat, right? So
Yeah.
when you go to McDonald's, when you buy a Diet Coke thinking you're offsetting the calories and fat in a cheeseburger, you're actually doing the opposite effect. What happens is you drink the Diet Coke, it tells the whole body stop burning fat. You eat that cheesy fat cheeseburger, and now you got fat in your body, and your body's not dumb. Your mind's not dumb. It's not. I'm not getting rid of that. We might need it next month in a survival situation. So pack it on the hips, the ass, around the organs. It retains that fat, right? So you get fatter by taking actual artificial sweeteners, diet drinks, diet food. And then you got insulin floating around with no sugar to link up with either. And it's craving more carbohydrates so it can get rid of that sugar, and it never comes. And you keep bathing yourself at the cellular level with insulin, you get insulin resistance, type 2 diabetes, right? So it's completely counterproductive. Um, Same thing with the brain. Okay, you got so much glucose in there, so many carbohydrates in there. And what happens is the other thing that happens with sugar is it causes inflammation. Okay, this is why people that take a lot of carbohydrates, they hold water, interstitial water. They got puffy face,
Hmm.
you know, swelling around the ankles. That you hold water. Um, and then the other thing that the sugar does is it causes what's called advanced glycation end products, right? It's almost like it glazes over the nerve endings until it kills them and they can't fire anymore. So you're literally killing brain cells and nerve endings with sugar. Right now, you have trillions of them in there, but in time, you could really wipe out a lot of nerve endings and by drinking artificial sweeteners. So also aspartame, which is chemical sweetener, artificial sweetener, falls in the same space as monosodium glutamate in the same family. Guess what? We all know MSG, that can't be good for you, right? And now, everybody's complaining and push back. Yeah, I get a headache after I eat MSG and Chinese food and blah, 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 blah. And so why do you get a headache? Remember I just said about aspartame, nerve endings, firing, overfiring, right? All this kind of stuff. Well, then what happened was the food companies go, oh, they don't like our MSG, but we really want MSG, right? So we want them to eat more of our food. So what do? Look at your label. You're going to look at a label now and go, I don't see any MSG in there. You know why? Because they disguise it, they camouflage it. They renamed it to things like natural seasoning, right? They call it something else other than MSG, but it's still in there. Okay. And it's bad for your brain. It's bad for your nervous system. Right up there with sugar, right up there with aspartame. All right. So if you want to live longer, and by the way, the only thing that feeds cancer is sugar. It needs sugar to grow. Okay. You take away the glucose and sugar, it's got nothing to feed on, it's done. The other thing is it needs an anaerobic environment, an environment without oxygen. So how do you oxygenate your environment? Exercise, infuse yourself with oxygen, right? Exercise will help stave off cancer. Cutting out the sugar will stave off cancer. Okay. And I got some other stuff I'll share here in a minute that works. Um, let's go into the cholesterol myth real quick. All right. So some people probably like me remember Jim Fix. He was a world-class marathon runner, died at the age of 55, I believe, from a congestive heart failure, heart attack. And everybody's scratching their head going, how does that happen? He's a marathon runner, eats like a rabbit, runs like a gazelle, and he had a heart attack, congestive heart failure, too much cholesterol in his arteries, right? Not true. So what happens is when you exercise, you produce homocysteine. It's a form of an amino acid, okay? And homocysteine can be found in environmental toxins, pollutants, meats, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And it causes inflammation, particularly of the blood vessels. And so when it causes inflammation and swelling, what happens is you get a constriction in those blood vessels, and any cholesterol passing through get jammed up. They can't squeeze through. They start getting hung up. Plus, it causes a form of scarring on the inside, if you will. Guess what sugar does? It also causes inflammation of your blood vessels. So people that die from congestive heart failure, did they die from the cholesterol or did they die from the homocysteine and the sugar? It's the homocysteine and sugar. What came first, the chicken or the egg? It was the homocysteine and the glucose that caused the inflammation, caused the cholesterol bind up. But it's easy to blame the cholesterol because we can now sell statins. It's a lot easier to sell you statins and more profitable to sell you statins than tell you, hey, stop eating sugar, And oh yeah, and what do you do about the homocysteine? Simple. Folic acid, 200 micrograms a day. Take a B complex of vitamins, it has 200 mcg of folic acid. There's your antioxidant. Okay. Inflammation from working out is natural, but too much of it is not natural. Why? How do we get too much? Not from too much exercise. We ingest too much of it. We inhale too much of it. So we're compounding what we're already producing, right? We're making everything exponentially worse. So the heart attacks are not due to cholesterol. We need cholesterol. In fact, cholesterol is not bad for you. That's also been proven again, again, again. The reason the cholesterol myth came about, it came about late 60s or 60s, 1969, I believe, by a guy named Ansel Keys. He came up with the lipid hypothesis. It was a study, and basically what he was asserting is cholesterol was the reason people are getting heart disease. So we got to stop eating egg yolk, meats, all this stuff that has cholesterol. And we need cholesterol-free stuff, right? And but what they didn't reveal was he actually skewed the data so that it would meet his hypotheses, right? So he took out all the data points that actually said, no, it's not the cholesterol. He took all that out. So he got more of a linear hypothesis or support of his hypothesis. Go, see, look, the data lines up when it actually was all over the map, right? He lied is what he did. Okay. And that became the basis for one, the food pyramid that's been promoted by the US government, and also don't take cholesterol. Cholesterol is bad. It's been proven. It's actually been debunked so many times, and it's amazing. Nobody is actually coming out and talking about that. And when you look at that, how many people have avoided cholesterol? And here's another piece of that. So your brain, the myelin in your brain is 100% cholesterol. Okay, so if you're taking cholesterol lowering drugs and you're not taking cholesterol, how are you replacing the cholesterol in your brain? You're not, right? And so when you're goofy and loopy and you can't even remember who you are, your name, it's tied to that. You have no cholesterol. You need cholesterol. If cholesterol was the enemy, there would be no Eskimos because that's all they eat: fat, blubber, meat. They're not out there. They don't have a garden behind their Eskimo making salad and tomatoes. They're just eating, and they got the lowest rate of heart incidence rates, disease in the world. Okay, they just don't die from heart attacks, congestive heart failure. It's not until they come down to the United States, the mainland, they eat a Western fare that they're on par with everybody else when it comes to heart disease. So the people argue cholesterol is bad for you are totally misinformed. And here's the problem, right? It's called information escalation bias. even though I just presented facts, and there's lots of facts supporting this out there, okay? A lot of doctors supporting, now the experts, real experts supporting this. People will go, well, they'll come up what the reason why, well, it's a little bit too extreme. You can have, you shouldn't have that much everything. Baloney, man. Stop trying to defend the lie and open your mind, okay, and understand that you've already been lied to, and separate yourself from the lie, stand back, do your critical analysis, do your research, and what you're going to find is you've been duped. And even these people that are so-called experts have been duped. They don't know it either. Doctors, many others don't even know this stuff. And if you go, well, the government says, well, then you're really dumb. If you believe anything the government says, you should have learned your lesson during the pandemic. Or scam, call it what it is, right? The NIH was wrong, CDC was wrong, WHO was wrong, many medical doctors was wrong, right? And the government was wrong. Everybody told you a bunch of BS, okay? And they were wrong. And guess what? People are suffering even more today because of that. People are dying because of this, right? The ones that are not suffering, the ones that actually use their own brain say, you know what? I do my own critical thinking and let me check it out. So I like to think I'm one of those. I refuse to let my family take the COVID vaccine. I did my analyses and realized this was all a scam, big time scam. And I got lots of stories to support that, but that's not neither here nor there right now. So, anyways, the moral of the story is this: um, don't believe everything you hear, and you don't have to believe me. Go do the research. Don't look hard. Don't just go to a couple of sources. And I would argue stay away from the things like the AMA. John Hopkins. Go to some not stay away from the mainstream, I guess, information bases because they're going to tell you what they want you to hear. Go to some offsites and start looking at alternative practitioners, medical doctors, practitioners. Look at those that actually have studied the science. And there's a lot of them out there, man. And you're
I
gonna realize really
I
quick.
would sorry to interrupt I would say to go on what you're talking with critical thinking as someone that didn't get the vax. I would say be wary of the mainstream, but I wouldn't avoid them entirely. Not that you're incorrect, but rather you should apply the idea of don't outright trust the CDC, the FDA, the White House, WHO. Also, I would say don't outright trust anything you find. Use critical thinking. The CDC doesn't get a pass because it's a big institution with white coats and pillars, but at the same time, don't write off the website of the guy that uses, herbs grown in his garden. Take them
Yep,
all
yep.
take them all and go, let's see what they say. Does it match with my own consistent logical thinking with the scientific method? Is there conflicts of interest? Who's funding them? The alternative site isn't always going to be right. It's not also going to always be wrong. The CDC is full of shit, but I'm sure they also say take vitamin B. So I would say just to latch on to your comment, don't trust anything outright and don't write anything off outright. Put it all on the table and use your own critical thinking and go, take this, take this. Doesn't matter who said it. Just that's what I would say. Sorry, keep going.
No, use your critical thinking, right? And most people are too lazy to do that, right? And you've had doctors on there, you've had doctors on that have practiced alternative medicine, and alternative views to the establishment, and as you know, been banned left and right off of every platform. And guess what? They've been exonerated, been proven right.
All right. Every single yesterday, Senator Ron Johnson, I think, came out or 2 days ago, came out with former CDC director Dr. Redfield, and they came and just outright said that they were hiding the side effects of the mRNA vaccine. They were both amplifying its efficacy and they were also downplaying its safety, and that basically it was without so many words they were apologizing to Dr. Malone and Dr. McCullough. So
Yep. See, there you go. It's why you got to use your critical thinking skills, right? And don't just don't buy into one side without actually analyzing it. When COVID started coming out, and and the numbers, and oh my God, we're all gonna die. Everybody's gonna get the facts. I'm like, you know what? First of all, what I do know is this: they're counting every death a COVID death. Guy crashed on a motorcycle, died from COVID. Like, huh? You know, Joe, my partner, him and four other guys, they actually online set up an appointment to go get the test, COVID test, They all canceled. A week later, they all got letters saying they were positive for COVID. They need to come in and get their vaccine. I mean, that right there, when that started happening, I knew this was a scam, and some things happened to me in Indonesia. And I knew this. So I started doing the math. I go, okay, how many people have died so far? Globally, what are the numbers? Okay, they claim this many are dead. I said, okay, there's this many people in the world. This many people died from COVID. Okay. And then I started doing the math, the analysis, and what I came up with was you have a 99.9978% survival rate from COVID. You got a better chance of dying from the common cold and definitely the flu than COVID. I said, why would I take a vaccine for that? I'm not taking a vaccine for the cold. I'm not taking a vaccine for other things that are more likely to kill me. So why are we doing this? And and then like you said, who's funding this? Where's this money going? You know, um, like I had the ability to detect COVID in people with my canines. I can train dogs to tell if you have COVID, even though you don't have symptoms, right? I can train the dog to do that, just like we can train dogs to detect cancer, to detect seizures before they even come on. There's a reason for all this stuff, right? And it goes back to what we said earlier about physics and success, and I'll get to that in a second. Um, but I had a very effective technique for detecting COVID in humans, like coming through the airport. I could stage dogs in certain places. It's called vapor waking, and a whole crowd of people can walk through the airport terminal. The dog just sits there, and the air sense, and he goes, "Huh? Heat seeking missile. I got one." And he dials in on the guy. Go, "Hey, you got? Come here, pull him to the side." And then you can test him. But you know why nobody wanted to do that? It wasn't expensive. Well, you know what? They don't make money off that. They make money off of tests, right? Give you lots of tests, swab tests, this test, that test. And again, here we go. It's all about the money. It's always about the power. Um, anyways, kind of so a little deviation from there, but moving forward to one other area I wanted to talk about real quick. I think this is really important. So longevity to me, what's important is that you can live a long, fruitful, happy, healthy life, right? And one of the reasons a lot of people don't live, they might live longer, but they're certainly not healthy and it's not fruitful and they're damn sure not always happy, right? They're just existing. What's the old saying? A lot of men die at 30 and they were actually buried at 80.
Died
Uh,
25, buried 75.
yeah, and so, that's how a lot of people are just living in, are just staying alive, just basically existing. And
You're gonna
why
be my sorry, I keep interrupting you. You're gonna be my girlfriend in college. Her grandpa was 100. He died when he was 100. Um, his wife 98 or 99, lived on their own, gardened. Uh, every every day would have a glass of brandy and smoke some cigarettes. But he gardened, drove, worked around the house. Didn't need. I mean, they had doctor's appointments, but there was no one watching over them. Made their bed, did their laundry, and that's what I always look at is like they didn't just get to 100. They were living. They were living in watching TV. They would go meet you for lunch. They didn't have a caretaker. And to me, I'm like that independence, that's got to keep you alive too. To just know that like you're getting up and like you're not come on, grandpa. It's like you getting up, making you want a cup of coffee, and you're looking at him, you're like, you're 100. It was the most like psychedelic. You're like, you're 100 years old. He was like 30 when World War II ended. Like, you know,
Well, there's some things that some some things that are very important for longevity. One is diet. Um, it's been proven over and over and over. Cut out the sugars, the carbohydrates, get rid of them. Two, you do not need vegetables and you do not need fruits. I know people go, "Oh my God, that's baloney." Yeah, no, it's been proven. Actually, fruits and vegetables are trying to kill you. They're full of think about it. What's going to protect the plant from a bug? Certain bugs. It's got to create its own poisons to kill that bug or to deter it. Try this. You get a coffee plant. Look around the bottom of a coffee plant. Nothing grows around it because a coffee plant uses chemical warfare to make sure nothing grows in and around it and suffocates it and keeps the bugs back. Take some coffee and leave a little bit in your cup. It's just a little drop in your coffee cup and throw a couple of cockroaches in there. Come back a little while later. Why are they dead? Because of the coffee. Now, have we adapted to a lot of stuff? Of course, was it still effectiveness? Of course. I think it was broccoli has 400 carcinogens in it. Not broccoli, but the Brussels sprout has 400 different types of carcinogens in it. Um, but anyways, I'm a carnivore guy. I'm on a carnivore diet. I just eat meat, eggs, fish, cheese, animal products. I don't eat any carbohydrates, no sugars, no fruits, no vegetables. And it's like, oh my God, are you afraid of the cholesterol? Nope. I welcome cholesterol because I know it's important for my brain. It's good for my body. And moreover, the meat has everything I need in it already because that cow, or animal that was eating all the grass and stuff, is getting all those
Mm-hmm.
nutrients anyways. It's in the meat, right? And I feel better. I've been on the carnivore diet for almost a year and a half, and I've never felt better, even at my age. I feel like really robust,
Uh,
healthy.
last year I went a month where every day I ate 18 eggs, and I was not even thinking about it. And I got blood work done for like the first time in a couple of years because like hereditary heart problems and stuff. I didn't even think about it till like afterwards. They're like, "Oh, your numbers are perfect." And I was just thinking like I've been eating 18 egg yolks, and people are like, "That's so much cholesterol." And I'm like,
Doesn't
"Yeah,
matter.
no, I'm fine." I mean, they said my numbers are fucking great, and I'm like, "Awesome, let's rock." Like your body's fine, man.
Yeah, it's fine, right? So, and if you eat vegetables and fruit, more power to you, man. I'm not telling people how to live
Sure,
or
sure.
just trying to tell you how to. Well, the reason I talk about nutrition when I talk about success is because, what I said earlier, your digestive system's tied to your mind, your hormones, and how you feel is directly linked to your digestive system, right? And so, if you know what you're putting into your body or not putting into your body that you need, that would, in large part, explain why you're having problems processing information and thinking, as well as your mood and your attitude. There's a corollary there between all that. So, well, I want to share something that I'm now doing. So, um, I've actually partnered up with the company, and what we are doing is provide stem cell therapy. And so I started getting into it, and I want to say this: stem cell therapy is usually very expensive. Okay, my mission, and my partner's mission is to make it affordable for everybody. I mean, on average, stem cell therapy, you want to get a infusion, it's about 20 grand. And not most people can
Jeez.
afford $2,000 to inject themselves with stem cells. We brought it down significantly, significantly. There's a cost and there's a price. The cost, there's a base cost that we can't get around because we've got to procure the stuff. So there's a cost involved in that. And then the price is what we sell it to you for, and it's nominal. We're definitely not trying to get rich off of you or anything like that. We figure we could actually, if we're going to profit, we can profit through volume, sell it to more people, can give it to more people who can normally couldn't afford it, right? So there's a happy medium there. Now, anyways, I want to talk about stem cell therapy. It's amazing. It is amazing. What is stem cell therapy? The what we use stem cells from umbilical cords, and we also use exosomes. I was injected with 400,000 stem cells and 3 trillion exosomes. Okay, exosomes have it has it does it's involved in energy transmission at the cellular level. Okay. Anyways, and the stem cells, what they do, they only last for 15 minutes. So you got to take them out of uh, dry
Freezer.
ice. You got 15 minutes to inject them after you thaw it, and then they die. But these stem cells are called master cells, right? And what they do is they produce, i.e., daughter cells, and they start to propagate and propagate, and propagate, and propagate through your whole body. When I got it done, I had stopped running for almost a year just because I'm always an avid runner and I could run really well. And all of a sudden, it's like, man, the pain in my knees, particularly
Mm-hmm.
my left knee, started setting in. Like, what's going on here, man? Is that my age finally catching up? On my days in the military catching up? Grinding in the knee. Really, I mean, it was wobbling and moving. I get twitchy sounds in there, and it was very painful. And then the swelling, and it got worse in the last probably 6 months, really bad to the point where even when I was laying down, I couldn't get in a comfortable position because my knee was just so much pain. Well, I got the stem cell therapy done in an afternoon around 4 o'clock. And by the next morning at 8 o'clock, when I woke up, I swear to God, I woke up with two brand new legs. I got up and like nothing, no pain, no swelling. I'm running up and down the steps. I'm running in place. I'm doing karate kicks, for front kicks I couldn't do before. Like, holy shit. And I just kept, and it's amazing. And the feelings I'm getting now, I can just feel everything is getting different and better. I just feel better. Couple that with the carnivore diet that I'm doing. It's like, wow, I'm going back in time. And it takes about 90 to 120 days for these cells to finally proliferate to an optimal level. And it starts reversing aging, degenerative diseases like kidney failure, cartilage, everything, man, the entire body, man, brain function. And this will last for at least 9 to 12 months. And it's not like then it goes back downhill. It's pretty much you're back at another baseline. And you can always do another infusion on top of that, and just keep improving, improving, improving throughout your life. And I've been doing that, and I got to tell you, man, it's been a game changer. Um, wow, between that, my diet, my carnivore diet, my supplementation, like HGH, or I mean, not HGH, but peptides that are HGH equivalents, precursors to hormones, testosterone replacement therapy, those types of things. When you combine all those things, you can extend your life. You can
Sure.
reverse. And the best part is your mind, man. Even my eyesight got better. My eyesight's actually gotten better because of carnivore diet. It actually did. My eyesight started improving. My reflux has gone away. Any rashes I had were gone. Everything's got, but my blood pressure almost went through the basement. I started getting lightheaded and dizzy because it's like crazy. And actually, at that time when I remember I started, I was taking 5 milligrams of lisinopril. It's not very much. I was taking it for high blood pressure, which wasn't really high at all. It was around 135 over 90, and the doctors convinced me, oh, if you don't take blood pressure, man, you're gonna die from a heart attack, and I'm like, yeah, maybe I should bring it down a little bit more. Here's another one they pull on me. So what is the normal blood pressure? It used to be 120 over 80, right? I go see my doctor. He goes, I'm 120 over 80. He goes, oh, you got to bring your blood pressure. I go, it's 120 over 80. He goes, oh no, the new standard is 110 over 70. I said, what? They keep raising the bar, and why? Because they need you to be sick, I'm like, no, 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 no. But he did convince me to take some lisinopril as needed, and I was taking lisinopril, and probably within 4 weeks after getting the carnivore diet, my blood pressure went through the basement, man. I about passed out and fell into a swimming pool one time. Like, oh, started getting really lightheaded, So I got off the medicine, haven't been on any medicine whatsoever. And it's very liberating to know that you can control your health, you can control your longevity by managing your diet. And it's not, oh, I got to eat lots of tomatoes and lettuce and just white eggs and chicken or fish, and no, man, no, 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 it's actually the opposite. That's the crazy part, man. But anyways, moving forward, success. All right, so this is like I said, we got to sort out the diet part first, the nutrition, so that the mind functions properly. Success is based on frequency. Okay, even Albert Einstein said that. Nikola Tesla, many great physicists out there, they know that if you want to be successful in life, it's a function of how you think, not what you think. Everybody teaches you what to think. News tells you what to think. School teaches you what to think. Parents tell you what to think. Everybody tell you what to think. Everybody's telling you cholesterol is bad, right? To tell you what to think. You got to change what you think to how you think. Now, what does that mean? How to think? Well, how to think is this. Understand that your brain is actually think of it as two people in this globe, right? You've got the consciousness and you have the subconsciousness. All right. The consciousness is the analytical side of the brain. It's the filter. It's what we're operating in right now, right? We're in beta frequency. So you taking in information, it's going to go to either short-term memory stores, or long-term memory. You're going to decide consciously, do you accept this information or not? If you were to accept information, then that goes to the subconscious via the pineal gland, goes into subconsciousness. Think of the subconscious as a supercomputer. It's the hard drive. It's where all information is stored. The subconsciousness is the artifact of the past. It is a repository for all past information and experience. Everything is in there. The subconscious controls pain, pleasure. It controls your amygdala, your stress. Everything is controlled by the supercomputer, the subconscious. Okay. And here's the other thing. Consciously, we know the difference between reality and imagination, or we think we do, right? And the question is, are we living in reality, or is this all some type of a dream, right? How do you know it's not? Are we living in a matrix? It gets very intriguing when you start digging into this thing. Who are we? Where do
What
I leave
what
my
am
house?
what
When I
is
leave my
self? What is
Yeah,
I? Why am I here? What is any of it?
exactly. When I leave my house, is it still here, really here? Was only here when I come
Does it
back to it.
collapse into a wave function? Is there anything in my downstairs right now? Is my
Yeah,
car really there? Is
exactly.
And then you start getting into, is the past real? Are you
That's
not, are you in the present? You have no evidence of the past. You have memories, but where are you accessing those memories from right now?
ex-
Or are the well, no, I was 15 and I was going into high school. Well, where is that high school right now? Well, it's a memory I have.
exactly.
Where is it?
Right. This is the problem with most people. Most people intellectually can't get their head around it because they've been inculcated and enculturated a certain way of thinking, right, all their lives. And it's like, wow, it's like some psycho babble
It
boo boo.
gets fuzzy, gets a little shaky.
But but if you can start to analyze it, understand it, and start to see the possibilities, um, then that's when the changes start happening. So the subconscious does not know the difference between reality and imagination. It has no idea. It only knows what the consciousness tells it, right? And so if I tell my subconscious every day, um, I don't know, I am rich, I am rich, I am rich. Okay, maybe I'm dirt broke. I live in a cardboard box on a street corner, right? But if I say it every day, I'm rich, I am rich, I'm rich. What happens is the subconscious goes, guess we're rich, right? It doesn't know because it can't see the world because it's not the conscious part of the mind. So what it does is creates conditions so that we can be rich. The term is called manifesting, right? Basically, what we talk about, manifesting your reality. And so how is that possible? It's possible because everything is energy. We produce our own bioelectricity from within. That's what allows our brain to function, our arms to move, it allows us to talk. Everything is frequency and energy. And we emit energy. We emit it through our pineal gland. We receive energy. It's measurable. It's a fact. We actually emit energy off of our bodies. Very easy example of that is if I look at your body look at you through a thermal scope, what do I see? I see a heat signature. What is heat? Energy, right? We can also measure energy frequency coming off your body with radio spectrometers. We know that we emit energy. Okay, it's a frequency. So everything's actually frequency. Nothing's actually solid. Why is that? My table's solid. No, it's not. At the molecular level, every atom is tightly packed together, but it's not actually making contact. It's held together between neutrons, protons, electrons, etc. That's what's holding it together. In fact, all solid is actually malleable in time. Will start to follow if you follow the laws of thermodynamics. Everything is an equal constant state of degradation. It starts to come apart and wither and bow and whatever, right in time. Um, so nothing's really solid. And the other thing about energy is energy cannot be created nor be destroyed. It can only be transferred. So now that poses another question. If I have nothing but energy within my body, I am energy. I produce my energy, just like an electric eel, right? Um, we produce a lot of power, but we don't do it to shock people. We use it to run the brain up here because it needs a lot of energy. Electric eel needs it to protect himself and stun stuff so he can eat it. Okay. But what happens when that electric eel dies or we die? Where's that energy go? Since it cannot be created nor destroyed. Our bodies are nothing but simple carbon-based matter. It starts to what? It starts to disintegrate, turns into fertilizer, feeds the worms. But where's that energy go? It goes back into around us into the ether. Okay. And so you could argue, now, listen, I've had coaching clients that were Catholic priests, doctors in religion, et cetera, et cetera. I mean, I've got a background in religion. And the question is, does this in any way contradict the, what's the word I'm looking for? Is it in any way out of alignment with your religious beliefs? And the answer is no. And here's why. From a religious perspective, as a Roman Catholic, when we talk about spirit, okay, oh, poor, so and so, he died in a car accident 2 days, but he's still with us here in spirit. Why do we say that? Because we intuitively know that we really don't go away. Our energy lives on, but we call it a spirit in the religious realm. But in the scientific or metaphysical world, we call it what? Frequency. We talk about ghosts. What is a ghost? Energy, frequency, right? It's a wavelength. It's something that we see, but we can't really interpret it. So we create something in our mind to explain that energy. When I say we see things, our eyeballs are photoreceptors. Our eyeballs only pick up frequency. That's all we see. In fact, on the entire electromagnetic spectrum, we only see 3% of the color on that spectrum. We're blind to 97% of the color in the universe. We don't see it. We only see 3%. That's what our eyes are supposed to do. They collect information, cobble it together, right, and create an image based on this frequency. That's why you and I could see the same thing and maybe see it just a little bit different, because your perspective with the light and the colors that you see that go through your eyes, go to your brain, you might see just a little bit different than what I saw it. And you might describe it as just a little different. I might go, hey, dude, we saw the same thing, didn't we, Tom? No, I saw this, but no, it happened right in front. No, I saw that. It's right. So it's kind of interesting phenomena, because the eyes are nothing more than photoreceptors. That's all they do is see color, which is frequency. All color has its own frequency. Every hue has its own frequency. We pick up all those frequencies at once, right? And then we create a picture in our mind. Just like sound. When I'm talking to you, what am I doing? I'm conjuring up a thought. Okay. I'm sending it down to my voice box through my exhalation, through my lungs and my mouth and my tongue. I'm vibrating the air molecules. Okay. That's frequency and wavelength of those molecules. That's not there's no language in there. It goes into your parabolics, right? And you receive that frequency, that air pressure, and then your brain interprets that frequency and wavelength, and it assigns it a meaning, i.e., language, based on the fact that you and I both speak the same language, because we are able to assign the same tones, right, to every little nuanced frequency of that wavelength. So are we really hearing words? No. What we're hearing is frequency, and we're interpreting it, and that's what's called communication. Some people don't do so well at, at communication because their interpretation's off, right? And but anyways, the moral of the story is frequency. Everything's frequency. So why can't we create our reality? We can. That's how hypnosis works. Okay. Hypnosis, what we do is, what a hypnotist does is they essentially turn off your conscious thoughts. They plug in their conscious mind into your subconsciousness, and they basically program the subconscious. This is why hypnotists can go, okay, when I snap it, count my fingers, count to three, snap my finger, you're gonna hit yourself in the forehead, and then you're not gonna remember it. Pull on it, right? 1, 2, 3, crack, you hit yourself in the head, and it kicks out of me, goes, okay, what did you do? You didn't do anything. Nothing happened, right? He has no concept of time, because actually time is a man-made construct. So in his mind, it's like, well, you didn't do anything yet. Yeah, you did. You were unconscious. No, yeah, you were. There's a video. Wow, I hit myself in the head. Yeah, you hit yourself in the head. Why? Because I disconnected your filter, the analytical side of the brain, right? It's not operating right now. I plug in my conscious thoughts, right, through words, frequency. I talk to your subconscious, which controls everything, your pain, your pleasure, and your everything that you do physically is controlled by subconscious, and the subconscious carries out my command, right? And then I replug in your consciousness, and you're like, well, nothing happened. Of course it did. You were just unplugged. It's an amazing phenomenon. But now, what if you can do that for yourself? What if you can, with your consciousness, program your subconsciousness, which you can? Self-hypnosis, autogenic conditioning. This is what I teach. I can teach you how to basically change your performance immediately, your personal performance and your future performance. If you want to manifest a business, a certain type of lifestyle, live a certain way, you can manifest all of that. If you want to enhance your performance right now, your physical performance, it can be done. It's a form of self-hypnosis. And a lot of this stuff I was taught as a Delta Force operator. We were actually taught by psychologists how to meditate. And there's a reason we need to know how to meditate, because we needed to be able to lower our heart rate and prepare ourselves for entry into a room in the next few seconds and shoot people in the face or get shot in the face, right? And we need to be able to go in there and perform. And so we really had to be able to, some people call it psych yourself out, call it what you want, but basically what I'm going to do is program my subconsciousness for performance. And also what I'm going to do is turn off the reticular activated system, the amygdala, so I don't go into fight flight mode, that I go in cool, calm, and collected, and just methodically destroy the targets without freaking out. Okay, that's when you're the most effective. And some amazing phenomena here, but the takeaway is this: everything success is based on. It's literally based on frequency. It's based on physics. It's based on how you think in programming the subconscious for performance. Now, there's some steps to go into that, and I won't have time to talk about that today. But it's a form of meditation, and it's how you think, the words that you use, and the other things that you visualize will start helping you to manifest it. Um, I look at my whole life when people ask me, how did you achieve so much, in life, considering I came from nothing. I wasn't given anything. Suddenly, I was the youngest guy to make it through Delta Force selection at the age of 23 as a Green Beret. I worked for the government as a paramilitary operative. I've started several companies, managed them, sold them successfully. Currently I own one, two, three companies. Like, by the way, I just opened up a restaurant, billiard pool bar. Pretty cool, man.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah, it'll actually be open at the end of September. We already bought into it, so that's my second in that location. You know, I won't disclose the location just so the bad guys will find me, um, but yeah, it's all manifesting, man. I've manifested every day. I manifest things. My wife and I literally every day we have a ritual that we follow. Um, People pray. That's actually a form of manifestation. Actually a form of manifestation. Um, I do something different. It's almost like praying, but it's something different. And it's amazing how it works. And my wife and I do it by myself. My wife does it by herself, and then we come together and we do it together. And what we actually do is combine our energy and our frequency. And I'm telling you, every day we manifest new opportunities and more money. It just keeps coming
I
and coming.
I do it every yeah, people roll their eyes. I do it fucking all the time. This okay, when I hit the goal, I up it again. I'm like, all right, I've got
Yep,
50, I've got right now I've got 30,000, 32. So right now every day I'm like I have 40,000 subscribers. I'm like I'm making this much money. I'm making and then other thing, my family is, safe and happy. My parents find happy, my brothers find love. And like every day you do these things and like call whatever the fuck you want, man. Eh, I've been banned from YouTube and iTunes, and yet my podcast is still growing, and I am paying for a fucking incredibly nice apartment and pays all of my bills. And when you and I first spoke, I was working at a liquor store doing it on a laptop above my parents' garage. I'm in a ball and fucking apartment. Had last week, 2 week, I had Mike Lindell on the My Pillow guy. I had General Flynn on last week or 2 weeks. Like Roseanne Barr retweeted it. Like, call whatever fuck you want, man. Enjoy losing. You make it hot. That idiot prays and manifests. And like I'm looking down from, my fucking baller apartment. I'm like, you do you,
exactly.
brother. Hey man, I hope you enjoy being homeless. Like, God,
Absolutely.
more power to you.
Yeah, that's the funny part, right? Is as long as you have a limited belief system, nothing happens.
Your
Now,
life will be limited.
I'll say this. Um, if the mind is blind to the possibility, the eyes will be blind to the opportunities, right? And most people's minds are closed to the opportunities. They're linear thinkers. They've been inculcated into a certain way of
Work
thinking.
sucks. It's gonna be a shitty
Yeah,
job. Every day is pain. I'm never gonna be success. Hey, go for it. If that's what you really did. The reason people do that is because it's comfortable. It's comfortable to say, I know life sucks. It's easy. Thinking positively, it's scary because you start going like, you am I worthy of this? Am I capable of this? And you have to start living like, no, like I can do this. Like who else? Is that guy smarter than me? Is that I don't think Joe Rogan's necessarily smarter than me. I don't know if I'm smarter than him, but I'm like, I can do that. I fucking
yeah,
I got into med school. I'm like, I can hard work. I could do that. Like, and it's so it's not that like being negative is being more realistic. No, being negative is comfortable. Work sucks. I'm never going to get a raise. What's scary is going, I'm going to get 10,000 more subscribers. My monthly revenue from sponsors is going to go up by another 50% this year. And you're like, fuck, it's too good. It's too good. And you go, no, like I can fucking do this. I can imagine a better world for myself. I can imagine I'm not helpless. I'm not a fucking loser. There's not a monolith, world government that's going to like shut me down. Like go fuck yourself. Like I'm going to fucking live an awesome life. Like I'm gonna, literally like biblically, like go forth and multiply, like, come to the table of plenty. Like, spoiler alert, man. Like the Bible's accurate, man. Like fucking go find love, be a loving person, put it out there. Like that's what these motherfucking demons don't want you to know. That
yeah,
you'll own nothing and be happy. That's satanic shit, man. Call it what you want. It's satanic shit. You'll own nothing, you'll be happy. We're gonna reduce the carbon footprint. You're not gonna burn. They're saying go wither away and
yeah.
die. Read Dante's Inferno. What's the center of hell? The center of hell isn't fire, it's ice. It's cold, it's motionless. They don't want that. So naturally, you got to push back against it and be like, no, I'm going to be a ray of fucking sunshine.
Yeah, you said something a minute ago that's profound. Most people are they like living in this comfort zone. Most people spend their entire lives just trying to be comfortable, right? They're afraid to venture outside the comfort zone and do something that could potentially be painful. It was Jeremy Bentham, a philosopher in the mid-17s. He coined the term, or couched the term hedonistic utilitarianism. And essentially what he's saying is, as it concerns the human condition, is people will avoid pain and pursue pleasure, right? In everything they do. It's like, I don't want to do that's hard, right? So this is why most people are just getting by and will never live the dream life because they're afraid of doing the hard thing, the scary thing. They're not willing to take that proverbial leap and go ahead and take a swing at it, man. See if I can do this, right? They're happy staying in the comfort zone, going to work every day, collecting a paycheck, ask the boss, hey, can I have 2 weeks vacation this year, sir? Yes, so you may, and keep making me rich, and so people like their comfort zone. And then the other thing they do is, well, I don't want to be in this, I don't want to be doing this, but I'm stuck. Well, that's a limiting thought. You're stuck because that's what you think you are. You're allowing yourself to be stuck. Think way outside the box and don't underestimate your capability, right? Um, and that's what most people do. They have a limiting thought. Well, I could never do that. Well, how am I supposed to do that? Well, the old adage, where there's a will, there's a way. It's true, and there's always a way. And so you just have to have the will. So let me say this also in addition. So there, in my world, my mind, there are 4 tenets for success. 4 tenets for success. If you can apply those, you can do anything you want. The first one is what you have to have a purpose. What is purpose? It's a goal, a mission, objective. Okay, what do you want to do? All right, that's easy. I want to do this. Okay, my question is, well, if you want to do this, how bad do you want it? All right, I just want to try it out. Forget it. You'll never make it. I just want to see what happens and see if I can do it. No, you got to be committed like no other. All right, it's like I want that so bad. I'll do whatever I got to do. Okay, good. That's good. Second part, in order for it to happen, you got to have a plan. It can be a shitty plan, no plan, but you look, it's just not going to happen because you said I want it to happen. All right, you got to have a plan. You got to. It's called a law of action. You got to implement some activity that's going to help you get to that objective. Right. Start with some plan. It may not be a good plan, it might be a really crappy plan, but you got to start with a plan. The plan will start to evolve, it'll start to smooth out. You start adding, looking at variables, massaging things before you know it, the plan fits the objective. Okay. And then the third thing you have, which is the most important tenet. If you don't have that, nothing happens. And it's passion, right? Desire. How bad do you want that? How bad did you want that goal? Right. I mean, you got to want it so bad that every time you get knocked down, right? Every time you get pushed back, every time it looks like, this is just not going to work. No, you got to want it in spite of all that. And this is where people fail. Most people just don't have the sustained determination, the gameness, right? The willingness to drive on no matter how hard it gets. I mean, they get beat back once or twice. It's not for me, and they come up with stuff like, well, I must be dyslexic or whatever. They make all these excuses, right? My mom did this, whatever blah, blah, blah. All the dream killers come in, right? Yeah, all these dream come surrounded by dream killers. Okay, well, you allowed yourself to be surrounded by them. I just run over them. So you have to have passion. Without passion, nothing happens. And is it going to get hard? Yes, it's supposed to get hard because anything worth having of value, okay, is going to take effort. Because if it was easy to get, everybody would have it, right? So if you want to be a business entrepreneur, for example, and live a life like I do, living in Bali, owning several companies over there, I'm living large, man. I'm not going to say the other islands I live, but I live in other countries. You know, I'm living large, and I'm not exceptional. I'm not special. I didn't have anything handed to me. It's because of how I was thinking. I was able to create this reality. Um, so you got to stay focused, stay determined, no matter how many times you get knocked down. And when you stand back up, go, okay, that didn't work. Don't do that again. Let me adjust my angle and try that again. Bam, damn, didn't work again. Let me tweak that angle again. Bam, try it again. What does that mean? Changing your angle is learn what went wrong the first time and make the adjustments accordingly. Failure is what? Feedback. That's what failure is. Okay. Every time you fail, you learn something. hopefully you learn something. And if you learn it, don't do it again. Don't make the same mistake twice. Eventually you'll screw up so many times, you know everything. There's no reason why you can't succeed, right?
Yeah.
So, so passion is essential. And then the fourth one is like the reserve parachute, the fourth tenet. The fourth tenet is when things are just not working against you or not working for you because other people are working against you. Okay, here's the other thing. Be careful how much information you share with other people,
Hmm.
friends, because they will do everything in one way, somehow or another, come along and sabotage it, or they'll tell you why you can't do it. Right? Oh, that's a bad idea. I'll tell you why. Why is it a bad idea? Did you do this? No, shut up. Right? That's usually what I tell them. Don't tell me what I can't do, but they will tell you what you can't do. Right? Or women are really good for that. Spouses, right? Oh, you're not gonna spend enough time with me. You're always at work, man. I'm trying to build an empire for us, right? That's what I got to do. And when they tell you can't do that, then nothing happens and they get mad because you don't have the empire that they wanted. And it's like, you're a loser. And they go find the next guy. I know I'm exaggerating a little bit. I know all the women are like, oh, that son of a bitch.
It's true.
Whatever. But it's true. Yeah, I've been down that road more than once. Found me a good one, man. A good one. We're building empires together. She gets it. So the fourth tenet, the reserve parachute, is discipline. Okay. When it gets really, really hard, you're like, I give up, I just can't do it. Discipline will get you out of the bed in the morning, get you to the gym anyways, even though it sucks, it's raining, you're hurt, you
Muscle
know,
memory. It's
get you back to the office. It's going to get you back behind the computer. It's going to get you grinding forward again. And eventually you'll start getting little tiny victories. And then you start becoming more empowered and more encouraged, and like, okay, more enthusiastic. Hey, it's starting to work again. It's starting to work again. It's starting to work again. All right. The passion starts to get relived or revived, and then maybe get another setback. That's okay. Get back to discipline. Do it again. Do it
got to
again.
have that reflexive. Not every, sorry to interrupt. Not every day is like the podcast is gonna work, and I feel, yeah, a lot of days you do that, but there are a lot of days where you wake up and you go, everything is telling me that I'm failing, and then you just autopilot. Wake up, gym. I'm tired. Shut the fuck up, gym. Mile on the treadmill. Come back up. Shower. Clean shirt. Meditate. Podcast. Thumbnail. Upload. And that might last for a day. Might last for a month, and it fucking sucks. But eventually you you start to get the win again, and then it's the light comes flooding back in. But you have to be able to put it in black and white with no sound and just go autopilot, just like white noise, and truly just drone on. And that's how you get through it, is you just
These are words. You're using very key words, man. You just said white noise. So what it is, it's called law of polarity, right? Because everything's frequency, and you're gonna have that pendulum swing. Things go really, and then they're gonna go back the other way,
Mhm.
all right? And then it's gonna come back up and back down a little bit, right? And how far you go down depends on your preparedness, your passion, and your planning will determine how long you're in that lag space before you rise back up. So it's the law of polarity. It's all centered on energy and frequency. Again, everything is energy. If you just remember, everything is a frequency and energy, and we're controlling it just like the dial on a radio. Okay, man, kind of crappy sound coming through. Must be too far from the antenna. You tweak the dial a little bit. I got a clear sound again, right? Clear song again, right? You have to make the frequency adjustments. And it's the same thing with our mindset. Um, Adjusting the frequency in your head, staying focused on the purpose, having a plan, keep developing the plan, have passion, and then the last thing is discipline. So, and the way I do it in layman terms for people is probably going to be easier for them to remember this. Is imagine you're sitting in a car, you're looking out the windshield to the top of a mountain. You go, I want to drive to the top of that mountain. Okay, so all right, what have I done? My goal. Look out the window, drive to the top of the mountain. That's what I want to do. Goal. Okay, how am I going to do it? Well, I'm going to drive this car to the top of that mountain. That's my plan. Okay. But the car doesn't move by itself. What's going to move the car? My engine. Okay. What is my engine? It's my passion. All right. So I got a purpose. I got the plan to drive the car. I need an engine to move the car, right? To push the plan forward. Okay. And then what do I do when, oh shit, it ran out of gas and the engine broke halfway up? I get out and I start pushing the car. Discipline. Just keep going. Just keep
Just
pushing. Just get that car to the top of the mountain, right?
not the
Uh,
plan, just keep.
exactly, right. And so, that's how I look at everything I do. Purpose, plan, passion, and then discipline is the fallback. I rely on discipline as little as I can. It's better to try to pursue a goal passionately
Hmm.
than come out of compulsion, right? So there's two phenomena here at play: inducement and compulsion. And what is inducement? Inducement is when You want to do something for the reward. You're excited about doing it, right? And compulsion is when you force yourself to do it, even though you don't like it. Okay. We want to rely heavy and heavy on inducement, passion, and very light on compulsion and force. And I equate this to like dog training. When I want a dog to learn something, I want a dog to learn how to do it because he loves it and he's happy to do it. Right? He'll work better for me. But I've also got to be prepared when the dog feels like, now you don't want to work today. I got to force him to work. A yank on the pinch collar, e-collar, right? Give him a little correction. Go, I want you to enjoy this, but if you don't,
Yeah.
need some pressure, right? And that's minimal, right? Maybe 5% of that and 95% of it inducement. It's the same thing with you. You have to make this rewarding. I was a lot of times I used to get hazed by, my peers in the military because when I went and trained my team, I went out and had fun. We'd laugh and giggle and do fun shit, It's like, you're not taking this serious, it's life and death. And I said, actually, I am taking it very serious. And that's why I do this, because I know my men will learn more if they're actually enjoying the training, right?
Hmm.
Going out in the sucks, it's hot. They don't learn nothing. They just can't wait to get back into the barracks or wherever. But if they enjoy it, like, wow, this is a lot of fun. Hey guys, we're gonna go on a road march. Oh man, it sucks. And then we go for a little road march. I take them down the lake and go get in the water. We go out
Yeah.
there and have fights and stuff. Like, what the hell?
I,
Yeah, now it's fun. We're all wet. Let's go do it some more.
dude, to interrupt again, like I have my like my long-term goals and stuff, but I always make sure every day I've got like a little treat just to get through the day. And for me, it's often like I can't wait till the show's over. It's gonna be uploaded. I'm gonna have all my stuff ready for tomorrow. Gonna go take a shower. I'm gonna go sit on the couch. I'm gonna play some fucking video games. I can't wait to just fly around in an F-15 tonight, headphones, and it's just your little keep it fun. You go, I fucking can't wait for this. I can't wait till the gym's over. I turn off the audiobook and I put on a podcast. I'm like, that's my reward. No more learning. I listen to audiobooks when I work out. And as soon as it's over, put on like a comedy podcast. And it's like, there's your little treat. Keep it. You got to be able to die. You got to be able to white knuckle it, grit your teeth, and go through it. But that long term, that's destined for failure. You have to keep that as break glass in case of emergency. I can do it. I can put the spare tire on. The spare
Yeah.
tire is like skinny, and you're only supposed to drive like 50 miles on it.
Right. Yeah, it's a good message for employers too. Keep your employees happy, make work fun. Look, I've seen people. I was a bodyguard for this and this one billionaire and his wife, and she had a modeling agency, and I'd have to go with her to her office, which I dreaded all the time, and you'd think there's going to be all these hot chicks, which it was not. There wasn't any hot chicks in there, but she had like a table with like six employees are sitting on this table on both sides, like on a bank of computers, and we'd walk in and she'd look at her and go in her office, and they're all sitting right. And man, they weren't talking, they weren't listening. It's like, wow. And I'd have to sit on the couch for hours while the old lady's in her office, whatever she was doing, yapping on the phone, pretending to make money. And I'm looking at these employees and they're like, it's like, wow, man. It's like, how can you work in these conditions? No sound, no music, no TV. It's like working in a cave, you're sitting right next to another person, like, don't look at me, don't look at me, don't touch me, And I was like, Jesus, man, how can you work under that kind of pressure? And so and guess what? She wasn't very productive at all. Nothing was happening. The whole time I was there, it was like, where are all the models at? Where's your events at? Nothing's happening. Maybe it's because the environment sucks here, and nobody wants to produce. They just want to not get fired and make their money, and so, you know, again, like I said, it's a good thing for employers to think about, man. Make the work fun. Um, and make your employees can't look forward to coming to work for you every day. Hey, it's gonna be a good ass time. We're gonna have some fun stuff. When we're gonna do today. Oh, he's probably gonna bring in pizza today. And strippers for the dudes. Like, wow, I'm coming to work today. So I'm exaggerating. Kind of. When I was in the
Yeah.
army, when I first joined the army, right in the 82nd, literally we had across the street we had the little PXs all the way down Division Road. Um, and at that time, you could literally during lunch go across the street and you could drink 3 beers. You were allowed to drink 3 beers on duty, and they had strippers. It's like, how
Mhm.
cool is that? At every PX, I'm gonna eat drink some beer, watch some strippers, eat some pizza, and then go back to work and shoot people with my M16.
Fuck yeah. Yeah, no, keep it. Yeah.
Yeah, it was crazy, man. Crazy times back then. But anyways, we got fun little tangent there, which is all right. So you're in charge of your own destinies out there. Even though other people are trying to control it, there's things that you can't control. And live a life, live a life fulfilled, rather than fulfilling somebody else's dreams and their lives and making them rich. Fulfill your life and live the dream life. And if you're not doing that, you're wrong because you got limited time. I'm trying to show you, trying to explain it. We can stretch it out a little bit. There's ways, longevity, food, nutrition, stem cells, things like that, but there's still a limit to how long you're going to live. The question is, how happy do you want to be in your lifetime? Were you born to work and be miserable? Or were you born just to live and work does a supplement your happiness? There's different ways you can look at it. So if you're going to work every day and I just gonna suck another day and it's Brian, I can't wait till Friday, it's only Monday. It's a miserable existence if you're doing that. Get out of it. You can, everybody can. It's easy, easier than you think it is.
And we'll wrap it up with this. Is we're coming on way over an hour. It's my fault. Sorry. Is
Can't
don't
shut.
the no. It's not that life is bad and that life is negative. It's that I think the main takeaway is that's what's comfortable because it's not surprising. If you flip a coin and you don't want it to land perfectly on its side, you guys want it to land. It's more even if you want it to land on its side, you know it's going to land on heads or tails instead because you understand the probability of it. And so really, it's not that you enjoy negativity, is that you enjoy comfort and going, I know for a fact I'm not going to enjoy my day at work today. And you might go, well, I don't like this. No, you do like it because it's certain. You know you're gonna, it doesn't matter what it is, you know it's gonna happen. You like the routine. The hard part about, going and building your own business and for all the other reasons, but the big one is it's not certain. And even when I start to get like huge opportunities I get nervous. I'm like, "Fuck," I kind of just want the podcast to go on as it is right now. I don't want it to change. And I'm like, no, take the risk. We're going to, but I don't know what the future entails. And then you get a big opportunity and it's fucking incredible, but it's scary because you don't know what it is. So that's a lot of it comes down. You might not even want to admit it to yourself, but you like the depressing kind of hell because you know it. It's a
Yep.
demon, and you go, I know work's gonna suck. I know I'm not gonna go to the gym. I know I'm gonna eat shitty food and, drink way too much and feel awful tomorrow, but I know it, I know it, I know it. And that's comfort. And that's the real thing. But Dale, let's wrap this one up. I gotta go piss.
Yeah,
Uh,
man. I got another podcast. This was I got number 3 coming up today.
Fuck yeah. Well, you're a machine. It's only you can do that. But guys, please go in the description. Go grab Dale's book, American Badass. Go follow his Instagram. His Instagram's fucking hilarious. And go check out his coaching and all that good shit. And Dale, dude, thank you for your time, man. And keep growing the beard. I like it.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, man.
All right, big dog. Guys, thank you so much for watching.